it is now. I see nothing as it is now. I do not see that hat as it is now. I do not see that bandana as it is now. I do not see that bamboo as it is now. I do not see that leaf as it is now. I do not see that post as it is now. And once you do it for a minute, look around what you see in your field of vision and tell yourself, I do not see that as it is now. I do not see that fill in the blank as it is now. I do not see that. I do not see that tree as it is now. Let's do a few more. You do them. I do not see that as it is now. I do not see that as it is now. I do not see this as it is now. I do not see this rock as it is now. I do not see this screen as it is now. Why don't you do about three more? I do not see that it is now. I do not see that as it is now. I do not see that as it is now. I see nothing as it is now. I see nothing as it is now. I see nothing as it is now. Well, thank you all so much for joining me here today on this snowy, cold, what is this, January 9th, Thursday in 2025. We're ready for Lesson 9 in A Course in Miracles. I see nothing as it is now. This idea obviously follows from the two preceding ones. Remember yesterday was my mind is preoccupied with past thoughts, and the lesson before that, Lesson 7, I see only the past. Today, I see nothing as it is now. This idea obviously follows from the two preceding ones, but while you may be able to accept it intellectually, it is unlikely that it will mean anything to you as yet. However, understanding is not necessary at this point. In fact, the recognition that you do not understand is a prerequisite for undoing your false ideas. These exercises are concerned with practice, not with understanding. Practice, not with understanding. You do not need to practice what you already understand. It would indeed be circular to aim at understanding and assume that you have it already. Okay, so that's a point that I'd like to make. I've had a few friends that have read through the Course in Miracles, but they didn't do the workbook, and you know, it's just almost, from my own experience, it's over our heads. I don't think there's many of us that walk in the flesh that would catch this just by reading it through. We've got to practice it. And he's given us the workbook so that we can do it in a year. So it doesn't have to take a long time. If you really did it exactly as he said to do it each day, you'd probably reach enlightenment, at least what my teacher used to call enlightenment, samadhi, in 1 year. Okay? I found that I didn't do it the way that he called for, so I did it again and again and again. Each year I do it a little better, though. I will say this, and I get a little bit more enlightened. Okay, anyway, I just wanted to put in a plug for the importance of doing the practices, not just reading it, because you'll intellectually, remember he says, while you may be able to accept it intellectually that I see nothing as it is now, it's unlikely that it will mean anything to you as yet. Okay? Paragraph 2. And I might also say that there are some of us that have come from persuasions and from practices and metaphysical teachings that were not maybe even Christian based, but we understood the concepts. And I use the word Christian because these are Christian terminologies. I personally call myself a non-judgmental Christian because Christianity's come to be so judgmental in today's world. I think they kind of miss what Jesus was trying to teach. Love your neighbor as yourself, which means to accept them the way they are. See yourself in them. Maybe that'll help you do a little better. Love your neighbor as yourself is see yourself in your neighbor, because we are one. We're all different cells in one big body, the body of Christ. Paragraph 2. It is difficult for the untrained mind to believe that what it seems to picture is not there. This idea can be quite disturbing and may meet with active resistance in any number of forms. Yet that does not preclude applying it. No more than that is required for these or any other exercises. Just apply it. Each small step will clear a little of the darkness away, and understanding will finally come to lighten every corner of the mind that has been cleared of the debris that darkens it. These exercises, for which 3 or 4 practice periods are sufficient, involve looking about you and applying the idea for the day. Oh, there went my umbrella. Wind caught it. These exercises, for which 3 or 4 practice periods are sufficient, involve looking about you and applying the idea for the day to whatever you see, remembering the need for its indiscriminate application and the essential role or rule of excluding nothing. For example, I do not see this typewriter as it is now. I do not see this telephone as it is now. I do not see this arm as it is now. Begin with things that are nearest you and then extend the range outward. I do not see that coat rack as it is now. I do not see that door as it is now. I do not see that face as it is now. And the last paragraph. It is emphasized again that while complete inclusion should not be attempted, specific exclusion must be avoided. Be sure you are honest with yourself in making this distinction. You may be tempted to obscure it. So when you're looking at things, you may be tempted to not say certain things because you have some kind of built-up emotional energy in it. And he's trying to say, just look at everything without any selectivity. Just the fact that your eyes rest on it. He says, be honest with yourself about that. Okay, let's take a look in our text reading for today. Distortion of miracle impulses. I actually like it better with the umbrella not on me because the sun's shining on me and it's cold. It was 15 degrees this morning. So I kind of like it with the sun on me, but it makes me hard to see the camera, and I'm going to get my face right up in there to be able to see, and I still can't even hardly tell. But I think we're looking good. Let's go ahead and keep moving. I like to always get these done in, 25 to 30 minutes, never over into 30. Distortions of the miracle impulses. Your distorted perceptions produce a dense cover over miracle impulses, making it hard for them to reach your own awareness. And this is section 7, by the way, in chapter 1 of the text, the meaning of miracles. Section 7 is distortion of miracle impulses. Your distorted perceptions produce a dense cover over miracle impulses, making it hard for them to reach your own awareness. The confusion of miracle impulses with physical impulses is a major perceptual distortion. Physical impulses are misdirected miracle impulses. Isn't that something? Physical impulses are misdirected miracle impulses. You know, I probably ought to put something over my guitar so it doesn't get too warm. It needs to kind of stay the same temperature, or it'll change its tuning. So physical impulses are misdirected miracle impulses. All real pleasures come from doing God's will. This is because not doing it is a denial of self. Denial of self results in illusions, while correction of the error brings release from it. Do not deceive yourself into believing that you can relate in peace to God or to your brothers with anything external. Catch that. The external. We want to go with the internal. Do not deceive yourself into believing that you can relate in peace to God or to your brothers with anything external. It's that inner journey. That's why we want to take these quiet times. Yeah, you know, he's not really emphasizing it yet, but I'm going to emphasize it. Keep doing it. If you're a multiple year student with the course, be sure to do those quiet times. You probably built up to 15, 20 minutes a day, maybe longer. And I would encourage you to keep that twice a day, morning and evening. And then take a minute or two to do the lesson as required, but still go back into the silence and don't lose that. Matter of fact, you probably enjoyed it so much you wouldn't want to quit it. Okay, anyway, just a little plug for the quiet. Very, very important to get in touch with your internal teacher, the inner voice, and to listen to it throughout the day. As we go along, you first-year students will get to where we're thinking of, we bring it to our memory at the top of every hour, and that helps us, whatever the lesson for the day is, helps us to kind of time to check in. And you multiple-year students, you keep doing that as far as I encourage you to. Don't have to. You can do exactly how he says it if you want to. 1 minute, 3 times today. That'd be the minimum for even if you're a multiple year student. 1 minute, 3 times today. To look around and tell yourself, nothing I see, or I do not see that blank as it is now. I see nothing as it is now. Okay, let's go back to paragraph 2 again. Child of God, you were created to create the good, the beautiful, and the holy. Do not forget this. The love of God for a little while must still be expressed through one body to another. Because vision is still so dim. You can use your body best to help you enlarge your perception so you can achieve real vision, of which the physical eye is incapable. Learning to do this is the body's only true usefulness. Wow, to enlarge your vision, to see in truth, see with the eyes of Christ. Paragraph 3. So there's the purpose of having a body, is to increase your vision to see God, see what God wants you to see. Fantasy is a distorted form of vision. Fantasy is a distorted form of vision. Fantasies of any kind are distortions because they always involve twisting perception into unreality. Actions that stem from distortions are literally the reactions of those who know not what they do. Fantasy is an attempt to control reality according to false needs. Remember, we don't really have any needs, but we can believe we do, and then we make a world where we're in a world of lack. Fantasy is an attempt to control reality according to false needs. Twist reality in any way, and you are perceiving destructively. Fantasies are a means of making false associations and attempting to obtain pleasure from them. Catch that? definition of fantasies. Fantasies are a means of making false associations and attempting to obtain pleasure from them. But although you can perceive false associations, you can never make them real except to yourself. You believe in what you make. If you offer miracles, you will be equally strong in your belief in them. The strength of your conviction will then sustain the belief of the miracle receiver. Okay? You believe in what you make. If you offer miracles, you will be equally strong in your belief in them. Remember, we're going to offer love. That's the miracle. You see your brother as yourself and truly treat them exactly the way yourself. Regardless of what problems they have, look at them the way you would want to see yourself. See the good. See the spark in them. Everything else, dismiss it with forgiveness. Recognize it never even occurred. So let's see where we at. Fantasies are a means of making false associations and attempting to obtain pleasure from them. But although you can perceive false associations, you can never make them real except to yourself. You believe in what you make. If you offer miracles, you will be equally strong in your belief in them. The strength of your conviction will then sustain the belief in the miracle receiver. Wow, isn't that something? So your faith in what you're offering is going to now sustain the receiver to receive the miracle, the love that you're giving. Fantasies become totally unnecessary as the wholly satisfying nature of reality becomes apparent to both giver and receiver. Wow, catch that. Fantasies become totally unnecessary as the wholly satisfying nature of reality becomes apparent to both giver and receiver. And these next few sentences are our life goal, as he says it. Reality is lost through usurpation, which produces tyranny. Reality is lost through usurpation, which produces tyranny. To usurp, to pressure someone to do something the way you want them to, that produces tyranny. As long as a single, end quote, slave, the word lost and slave are in quotes in these lines. Reality is lost through usurpation, which produces tyranny. As long as a single slave remains to walk the earth, your release is not complete. Complete restoration of the sonship is the only goal of the miracle-minded. Wow, we want everyone to be free along with us. Paragraph 4. This is a course in mind training. All learning involves attention and study at some level. Some of the latter parts of the course rest too heavily on these earlier sections not to require their careful study. You will also need them for preparation. Without this, you may become much too fearful of what is to come to make constructive use of it. However, as you study these earlier sections, you will begin to see some of the implications that will be amplified later on. Paragraph 5. A solid foundation is necessary because of the confusion between fear and awe, to which I have already referred, and which is often made. So I do want to say we want to build a real solid foundation so that we don't end up becoming afraid later on. I have said that awe is inappropriate in connection with the sons of God because you should not experience awe in the presence of your equals. However, it is also emphasized that awe is proper in the presence of your Creator. I have been careful to clarify my role in the atonement without either over or understating it. Okay, who's speaking? Well, it's the voice that Helen received, which she was convinced was Jesus. He acts like it. He quotes Bible verses. He said, when I was in the world, I said such and such. But he doesn't use the word in the course because I don't think he wants us to make another idol out of him, which so many people have done. Missed the point. The works I do, you shall do, because I go to the Father. Oh, he says, the works that I do, you shall do, and greater, because I go to the Father. I have been careful to clarify my role in the atonement without either over or understating it. I'm also trying to do the same with yours. I have stressed that awe is not an appropriate reaction to me because of our inherent equality. Some of the latter steps in this course, however, involve a more direct approach to God Himself. It would be unwise to start on these steps without careful preparation, or awe will be confused with fear, and the experience will be more traumatic than beatific. Healing is of God in the end. The means are being carefully explained to you. Revelation may occasionally reveal the end to you, but to reach it, the means are needed. And of course, the workbook is the means that we can use. Makes it really easy. But start with lesson 1 and do a lesson a day. And if you take a couple days from doing a lesson, that's fine. And if you miss a lesson, just go back to where you last left off and just pick it up again. Make it through. Okay, let's see. Let me see if I can get my head right up there. I think we're 21 minutes in, so we're looking good. Let's take a look at a few things going on around the world. I didn't find any religious or spiritual holidays today in any religions, which I always like to let you know any of those are. Out of holidays and observances, I found a few things, though. And I would say, according to, I guess it's Carter Day, President Jimmy Carter died at 100 years old on December the 29th, and today's supposed to be a day of mourning. I think it ought to be a day of celebration. Man, had a good life. He shared a lot of good things. Let's pick up right there with him. He was the one that signed the Panama Treaty Act, whatever it was called, in 1977. This is also the Panamanian people's Martyr's Day. Martyr's Day was when there was anti-American riots in Panama because of the people wanted the sovereignty of having the canal, and that happened on this day in 1964. 22 Panamanians were killed and 4 U.S. soldiers died. And that's something they sure didn't. Anyway, I didn't even remember knowing that back then. I was 21 years old in that year. I think I was about that. No, it was in. I'm not even sure. Born in 56, so whatever that was, 64. And I was about 18 then, huh? Right at the time where I should have known that kind of stuff. They might have wanted to recruit me, which I didn't have any interest in that. I kept thinking, well, Jesus wouldn't want me to go fight in a war and kill somebody. That's not turning the other cheek and going the second mile. And I'd encourage you to think the same way. Play God Day. Well, that's just a holiday that basically, God is good. You be good. Of course, that should be every day that you try to imitate your Creator. I am a mentor day. I hope I'm a good mentor to you, and you can turn around and be sure to mentor somebody else. Wonk Day. I guess those are basically politicians that are wholehearted. And I always think of a good wonk. If I was going to name a wonk, I don't necessarily hold on to the principles of politics because I think it's not freedom. I'm more of a voluntarist, where I believe everybody should contribute as they want to and not be forced. But I do like certain people. I think Bernie Sanders has a good heart anyway. Faith Day, for people that, I have a niece that's a Faith, so hello Faith Day. Apricot Day, the Prunus armeniaca, armeniaca. There's several that grow in this area. Garden Annei, the Dwarf Blenheim, the Goldcot. Both those last two are 4 foot tall, real small ones, and then there's the Dwarf Puget Gold, and there's also the Prunus mume, which is an Ume Apricot, and you can buy those from Edible Landscaping. Let's see, what else do we have today that's going on? Let's see. I guess that's probably good, and we're probably taking most of our time. I can't hardly see our clock, but I think we probably better close. Our word for peace today is Pokoj, out of Polish, Pokoj. So Pokoj be with you. All right, let me just see if I can look at that clock and see if I can tell what time it is. I can't even see. I'm going to get my face right up in there and try to tell. I'm hoping we have 5 minutes, but let's just go ahead and sing our song. Let's do a little quick meditation as we close. I can see nothing as it is now. I see nothing as it is now. I see that turkey. I don't see that turkey as it is now. I don't see that duck as it is now. I do not see that post as it is now. Now, what you doing now? I do not see that, I'll hum it, as it is now. And you fill in the blank. I do not see that as it is now. And I'll do it silently, and you do it. Do not see that as it is now. Just look around and say it to you. I do not see that as it is now. I do not see that as it is now. I do not see that as it is now. I do not see that as it is now. I see nothing as it is now. I see nothing as it is now. Okay, well, thank you all so much for joining me today on this sunshiny but cool, cold. It's kind of nice having the sunshine on it. Got a little protection from the bamboo from the north wind. So it's kind of a nice little spot right here, a little microclimate. Okay, but until tomorrow, I see nothing as it is now. Be sure to do 3 times today for at least a minute. And our word for peace from the Polish people of Poland, Pokoj. I see nothing as it is now. Pokoj.